love that. Welcome to the latest edition of Beyond the Arc. I'm John Gonzalez alongside our NBA insider, Bill Reiter, the hardest working man in show business, live from Stamford, Connecticut studios, in between HQ hits, making you do a podcast, all dressed up and fancy, looking good, buddy.
Oh, you didn't get the memo? It's a fancy, what day of the week is today? Is it Tuesday? It's a fancy Tuesday.
I mercifully did not have any HQ hits tonight. I have a big Thursday coming up, so we're wedging you in here between Bucks and Pacers and Oklahoma City and Grizz, and then you've got Lakers tonight. So we're gonna make this short and sweet probably, but we're gonna start off with, we'll get to the Oklahoma City Grizz game in a little bit, and also sixth man of the year came down. But Bucks and Pacers, Bill, Pacers end up winning this game by 8. They're up 2-0. Pacers franchise record 40 points in the first quarter. They came out guns blazing. They were up 16. Bucks made it a game late. But it's now 8 straight road losses in the playoffs for the Milwaukee Bucks, Bill. That ties a franchise record. And it's on a night, Bill, where Dame comes back and plays 37 minutes. They had to be happy about that. They also shot 50% from the floor and 40% from three. They also won the board battle, and they lost the game.
Yeah, and went on, a 13-0 run at the end when Dame hit that. And Dame had there was rust. That was to be expected. He's returning from a blood clot situation where it's not like he could be out there doing cardio and being in shape. But he hit that 3 at the end that pulled within 2, and I thought, here we go. You're right. And you can still win the series. We've seen Milwaukee do this before. You can go down 2-0. You can go home. You can win game 3. You can shift all the momentum. That does not feel like that is happening in this series. I don't know where you are on the eyeball test. I just think the Pacers look clearly like the better team, and it keeps hitting me, John. I don't know if we blame John Horst or Doc Rivers. This is not a very good Milwaukee Bucks roster. Giannis is amazing, and Lillard's probably going to play better. That it's not a win playoff series level roster.
I am super in the same spot on the eye test where, like, looking at the numbers, you get Dame back. Like, there was a little bit of rust there. There's no doubt about it. He shot 4 for 13, just 2 for 8 from 3. It took him until He didn't even attempt a field goal until halfway through the first quarter. He was cold in the second half. But all of that said, he played 37 minutes. Again, as a team, they shot 50% and 40% from deep, and they won the board battle. If you had told me all of those things on top of Kyle Kuzma, who shot 50% from the floor, and Bobby Portis got hot. If you told me all of that, he went for 28 and 12, had a super hot second half. If you told me all of that, I would have been like, okay, the Bucks won that game. And they didn't, because the Pacers, you're right, they have looked like the better team. They had all 5 starters in double figures. All 5 starters scored at least 15 points. They shot the ball well, too. They shot 49% from the floor, 44% from 3. Halliburton had a good night. He was aggressive. They just look like the better team offensively and defensively. You flagged this towards the end of the regular season where they had just figured out that defense. They've been playing good at both ends of the floor. Over the final, after that slow start, Bill, they finished the season 40-17. That's the 4th best record in the NBA over that stretch. And if you're the Bucks, like, man, you get Dame back, all those things break right for you, and still you lose this game.
Going on a 60-game sample size, which is pretty big, right? The last 60 games of the regular season, they're 4th in wins. They're top 5 in offense. They're top 10 in defense. And they're somewhere 5 or 6 in net rating. And the thing that struck me, and I was sort of geeking out looking at the numbers today, I was watching the first half, how well the Pacers move the ball, right? Just how they control the tempo. They play the way they want to play. They get good shots. And I went and looked it up. The team that had the highest assist percentage this year was, no surprise, the Oklahoma City Thunder. An astounding 72% of their field goal shots were assisted this season, right? After that is the Pacers at 66%. And just the way Rick Carlisle has this team playing, they're selfless on offense. Mm-hmm. They're playing much better defense than if you go sort of look at whatever Basketball Reference or NBA stats, pick your website. They are a much better team than I think, and we've discussed it, but then people understand. And the Bucks aren't that good. We have so many teams that we talk about where the team isn't very good, but the superstar is amazing. You have this in Denver with Jokic. I think to a degree you have it in LA. You may not agree with 2 superstars. And you certainly have it in Milwaukee with Giannis, and I guess to a degree Lillard. And I think part of what we're finding in the new CBA is they try to squeeze the sort of top and bottom teams. you can't just be reliant on one or two guys and a front office that doesn't do a good job building the roster. This Pacers team isn't star-studded, but they're really well constructed, and they're just a better team than Milwaukee, Giannis notwithstanding.
They're really well constructed. They share the ball. They limit turnovers. Tonight, just 8 turnovers. Halliburton alone had 12 assists. I mean, they were just passing the ball and setting everybody up, everybody moving well. Siakam had another good game. He was super efficient. He had 24, 11, 3 steals, 3 assists, 50% from the floor. Rick Carlisle went 9 and 10 deep in this game, Bill, in a game where, like, even though the Bucks did make a run in the second half, it just felt like that was going to be a comfortable enough win for the Pacers. I don't know. We were talked about this earlier today in the morning. I don't know what levers Doc has to pull.
So Chris Williamson asked me on CBS Sports HQ just before we hopped on here, what do the Bucks need to do? And it's change their roster. And Giannis was awesome. I was thinking about this. Amazing. I mean, like, top 3 player in the world. I want to ask you this because I was thinking about this. So, and if I remember this right, Giannis gets an offensive rebound, kicks the ball out to Lillard. Lillard hits a really long 3, 2-point game. And I was thinking at that point, because that 13-0 run was in part because the Pacers went sort of stagnant offensively, who on this Pacers team do you turn to for that shot? It's great to move the ball. It's great. But when it's just someone's got to go sort of be the guy, and the answer was Siakam and then Nembhard. Are they good enough to just go into Milwaukee and do this in Milwaukee? Because I think they are, but I don't know who takes that shot if Milwaukee can just make a game of it late again.
So that's a question. I was going to say, if there's any concern for me about the Pacers in the series, and I picked the Pacers in 6. I think they're going to win it, and they're off to a good start. If there's any concern, it's the Pacers on the road, right? Because they definitely feed off of that Indiana crowd. They're really good at home. That's their comfort zone. And it's just, we'll see what happens when they go to Milwaukee. But, to the Giannis thing, like, I don't know what else you're supposed to ask from this dude. He goes for 34, 18, 7 assists, a block. He was 14 of 20 from the floor. Bill, he scored 30 points in 10 of the last 12 games. He's a Superman. He's done everything that you could possibly ask, and it's just not nearly good enough. And at some point, I know that we keep harping on this and everybody's setting it up for this offseason, and there's going to be a ton of time to talk about this, but, like, when does the frustration creep in for Giannis if it hasn't already?
So again, I'm just going to keep referencing my own reporting. I reported in October, November, I don't remember when, that there was this groundswell of optimism in other front offices that if things went off the rails before the trade deadline of this summer, that Giannis would request a trade, or could, right? I'm not reporting Giannis has decided that, but there are people who believe that. I think it's this summer, John. I mean, I think that if they lose in 4 or 5, right? And here's the other thing. 2 things struck me. One is there's so much on the line for the future of the Milwaukee Bucks. John Horst, the GM, has not done a good job with this roster since they won an NBA championship. They have an all-time generational talent in their prime who won a title. And, I mean, Chris Middleton was an all-star who turned – right? They traded Chris Middleton long after he had any value for Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, he got old and hurt real fast.
Got old fast. Brook Lopez looks like – and he had some moments defensively. He looks like he's 102 years old. So John Horst could be in trouble. They're not going to get rid of Doc Rivers because they're paying so many coaches, but there's going to be sort of this toxic reality there. There's Giannis. And it also hit me, is Damian Lillard ever going to win anything? Because you're right, what more can Giannis do? But also Lillard's such a great player. And outside of one conference finals run with the Trailblazers, and he was amazing in that, where they got there and they got smoked by the Warriors like they always did back when he was in Portland. I mean, I think the pressure's on for Giannis in terms of his frustrations. And Damian Lillard didn't even want to be in this market, and now he's staring at never winning anything.
Well, I mean, if they move on from Giannis, or rather if Giannis moves on from them,
right.
I mean, Dame is definitely gone next. I mean, that's the next piece to be.
But is he that valuable now? Like, is he going to be able to dictate where he goes?
But if he ends up, I don't know, if he ends up on a team that, needs an extra piece, some good score. I mean, he's still a scorer. He's still a bucket. He had a really good season. Those 2 guys together were the highest scoring duo in the NBA this season. There's some value. There's some meat left on the bone, but yeah, it's getting late real early for Dame, where, at some point, yeah, he probably is going to want to go too, right? If he can't win in Milwaukee with Giannis, then get me somewhere that maybe I can.
You're right. I guess the better way to say it is Giannis can choose to reset, force himself where he wants to go, and he can win. He'll win championships probably, right? I mean, for Lillard, these are wasted significant years. Not that Giannis doesn't want to win now, but There aren't that many. So tonight felt like, I know it's only one game, but Milwaukee, even if they get past the Pacers, which they're probably not going to do, they're not winning anything this year. And so it feels like this experiment obviously didn't work, and you've wasted one all-time greats talent sort of time in Giannis. And I just feel bad for Dame because he's a great guy. He's a hell of a player.
Yes, he is.
He didn't want to be Milwaukee.
Consummate professional. He's great with the media. He's great with the community. He's a great teammate. Yes, he should have left Portland earlier. The whole "I want to stay in Portland" thing went on like a couple years too long. He should have definitely moved on. But yes, now especially with the Bucks looking at a first round exit for the third year in a row, that is really, really rough. Last thing on this, while we're talking about Dame being the consummate professional, he and Halliburton were jawing at each other again, and Halliburton hit the Dame time right in his face. And that has got to really aggravate poor Dame, because all of this goes into, you want to win. You're paired with Giannis. You were the 5 seed to their 4. It's not like you were that far off of the Pacers, but they look light years away from the Pacers, to the point where, Bill, I know that we have time to talk about the next round in the future. I was thinking about the Pacers and how like they're just a really good team and they're really well coached. Non-zero chance that they give the Cavs a run, right?
Hey, I haven't claimed many teams this year.
No, this was your team.
Well, it's weird because I just watched a lot of Pacers games because I like watching them play. I like watching Halliburton play. And did you see that he got voted by some of his colleagues the most overrated player?
That might be a little premature.
Come on. Yeah, very premature.
He had a slow start to his season. They put up the graphic on the broadcast tonight about how good he was post All-Star break. He was awesome. He really found it.
Oh, I missed that graphic. Yeah, I'm with you. Obviously, there are two elite teams in the Eastern Conference, and the conventional wisdom is when Cleveland and Boston, respectively, sort of advance in their showdowns, are going to win their series. I'm going to pick Cleveland over the Pacers, right? If we get there, that's the pick I'm going to make. It's not a lock. I mean, it's just. You know what it feels like? It feels like a better version of Knicks Pistons.
Yes, I was going to say right now, it feels like that. And also, if I were comparing, the Pacers to any non-Cavaliers and Celtics team, I'd say that they're the third best team in the Eastern Conference right now, with the way that the Knicks
I think they are
playing against the Pistons, and also just the fact that not to keep harping on this, but the Pacers have been rolling for a while now. At some point, it's just like, okay, like they know who they are. They know how they like to play, and they're a good bet right now.
You said it. Halliburton and his team got off to a terrible first 20 or 25 games. And that was a big enough sample size that we all, general sort of sports NBA public, thought that's who the Pacers are. They're not very good. That fluky run of the conference finals last year was a fluke. But then in mid-December, they just figured something out, and they have been consistently excellent since then. If I'm Cleveland, and they'll respect him, you don't want to play this team. You're going to beat him probably, but it's not a lock.
Fun vibes in Indiana too. That's a fun team for Indiana fans to root for. By the way, as we go to break here, Lakers up 25-10, timeout Minnesota late in the first quarter. So just keep an eye on that for everybody joining.
By the way, I took the Wolves in my pre. I just thought. And I knew it was dumb, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to take the Wolves every game when they ask me this question. Since I think the Wolves are going to win the series, I'm just going to go Wolves every game.
I like that.
25-10.
You roll 25-10. Thank everybody for joining us live on YouTube. Don't go anywhere. On the other side, we're going to talk about that other game that is already wrapped up tonight. Oklahoma City taking a 2-0 lead in that series. We'll discuss that next. This is Beyond the Arc.
We dig it. Do you? The Pro Volleyball Federation on CBS Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to Beyond the Arc. A reminder, we are also a podcast. You can get us wherever you get your favorite shows. Please download, subscribe, and leave a review. All right, Bill, the Bucks are not in a good spot, but the Grizzlies are in such a bad spot. They're envious of where the Bucks are. They lost again tonight. They even looked better. They lost by 19. They didn't lose by 51. They lost by 19. They looked better, and it wasn't nearly enough. Oklahoma City held them under 100 points. Oklahoma City, Bill, through 2 games are now plus 70. That is the second best start to a series in NBA history after only the 86 Lakers, who went up plus 76 on the Spurs back in the 80s. So Oklahoma City up 2-0. They have now played the Grizzlies 6 games this season. They've won all 6. Their bench dominated the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies have now lost 8 straight road playoff games. That's a franchise record. This is one of those games where, again, like Triple J looked good. Ja was inefficient for sure, but Triple J looked really good. Desmond Bane had a double-double. The three-point shooting, the percentages were basically the same, but Oklahoma City took 14 more than the Grizz. Grizz are just like completely outmatched.
They're outmatched, and I'm not being facetious. They lost by 19, and grading them on the curve, it felt like a pretty good performance.
Not bad.
It felt like a pretty good performance.
I'm watching the game. This was one of those remember last night when we were talking about it didn't feel like it was a great, like sometimes numbers lie. And last night we were watching the Clippers. Yep. You and I had HQ and we were watching the Clippers Nuggets game. And we felt like both of us said, oh, this isn't a very good Joker game. And we looked down and he had a triple-double. It wasn't an efficient triple-double. And he had a bunch of turnovers and whatever. This was a game where I'm looking at I'm just watching the game eye test wise. And then I look up and I'm like, oh yeah, they're like up 20 at one point. And I'm like, well, how is it 20? Like Oklahoma City is just, that defense is so legit. And it gave the Grizzlies fits all night long. And certainly in the first game. And like, it's tough. It's a really tough.
And they turned the ball over Memphis, I think 22 times in game 1 and just 14 or 15 in this game. I don't have it in front of me. And but it was twice as many turnovers as the Thunder had. And this is there's a lot of problems that the main problem the Grizzlies have is they're playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I think the second problem the Grizzlies have is they're the Memphis Grizzlies. But if you get into it, this is one of the worst teams, Memphis, in a long time, in the last few years, to make the playoffs and be in one of the worst. They're one of the 3 worst teams in terms of turning the ball over the course of the regular season. And the Thunder turn opposing teams over at this incredible clip. And so if you're Memphis, you got to stop giving this superior basketball team so many more opportunities, so many more possessions, and so many more opportunities. I mean, I don't know how you saw it because it's hard, like not as hard to focus. Well, it is. It's such a beatdown. Memphis doesn't look like they're that physically not into the game. They look physically overwhelmed. They look mismatched. They didn't, like, I thought they were at least going to show some pride and maybe play a little dirty, right? Just like maybe make Oklahoma City feel them a little bit.
I actually thought that they did, put up a much better effort. Like, okay, first you had 4 of the 5 starters in double figures. Again, Triple J, who was completely.
And Desmond Bane was great.
Jaren Jackson Jr. had a terrible game 1. They all did. Tonight, 26-6, super efficient. That was the Jaren Jackson Jr. that they had for much of the season. The guy who has a good chance of making All NBA. Ja was inefficient. He missed his first 6 shots and didn't hit his first field goal until under 9 minutes to go. But I think the frustrating thing here is even when the Grizzlies play a better game, they can't get to 100 against that defense. And then
they can't score.
Top of that, score against that defense because that defense is so good. As you mentioned, like when we're saying they only had 14 or 15 turnovers, like, oh man, that sucks. But then insult to injury here, another not great SGA game. He had 27, but on 29 shots, super inefficient, very unlike SGA. 2 games now where in the first game, he had 15 points. It was his lowest point total since October when the season started. And then tonight, 27 on 29, and it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
He did have a couple big shots I don't know, did Memphis make a run? Like if he's cutting it to 8 or 11 a run. I mean, that's the other thing. Everything's distorted from the game 1. There was a moment where the Grizzlies got it within single digits, and I thought, we got a game. That's not even a game. It's not a game.
Oh,
yeah.
They asked me. You weren't alone on that. Third quarter, I think it was, or maybe it was going into the half. I forgot what it was, but it was right around the break on either side. The broadcast went, cut it to 10. We got a game. And I was like, do we have a game? It doesn't feel like a game. Yeah.
And you just, and again, it's the eye test thing, but it's also the numbers thing. The Thunder are so much better than Memphis. I sort of thought Memphis would lose in 4 or 5, but put up a fight, right? They don't look like they're playing in the same league. They don't look like they're playing the same sport.
I mean,
in the first game, certainly.
we had an 82 game sample size. And I know that, playoffs are obviously different, and Oklahoma City crashed out of the playoffs last year in the second round, and everybody was waiting to show them, for them to show people this year, but they won the Western Conference by 16 games. They were 20 games better than the Memphis Grizzlies, and their point differential was what? 8 points and change per game better than what the Grizzlies put up. I mean, all those metrics that we saw this year that were like damn near historic for Oklahoma City. That's why I picked them to come out of a loaded West and make it to the conference or make it to the finals and then beat the defending champion Boston Celtics. I think everything we saw is legit, and I think they're just about to prove it. And they're on this campaign to be like, okay, you guys doubted us. Here it is.
I'm going to temper that a little bit. You're probably right. I do. Here's the thing. I think you're right. I just want to see the Thunder get punched in the face a couple times and how they respond.
It'll happen.
Lose a game. Yeah, it'll happen. The West is good. Not the other thing though that I hadn't thought about. I think the Thunder are probably the best run organization in basketball. The locker room love each other. You and I have discussed this, like post game, right? Jared Greenberg, whoever's doing in the regular season, all the guys will come over, whoever he's interviewing.
They do the team thing.
They like at every level of that organization, it's incredibly well run, right? Stability, Prestige. How long has Prestige been there? 15 years? I don't even know what it is. Forever.
Bill, they have like 27 picks coming up. It's insane.
Right. Everything about their outside of Dallas, in terms of teams that have expectations, Memphis might be the organization in the most disarray. They fired their coach.
Yeah.
They don't have a Giannis or a Shea or a Joker or a LeBron or a Luka. I mean, Ja's good, but they don't have a guy to carry you above that dysfunction. There is certainly ample speculation out there that maybe Ja will be moved on. There's obviously the hand grenade, the finger guns and the hand grenades. So you've also got this juxtaposition of not just sort of a great basketball team and an okay basketball team. You've got a really highly functioning, great culture, everybody likes each other team against a team that's in total disarray. And the thing that I always forget about, but it's true, is when guys don't like each other, when there's toxicity, when there's internal locker room problems or culture problems, it always comes out in the playoffs. Like you always see teams underperform when that's, and so this is I mean, everybody playing the Thunder is the worst matchup, but this Memphis Thunder team was sort of tailor-made for a 50-point beatdown, then a 19-point loss that feels like a pretty good effort. Way to go, guys.
The vibes for OKC, along with the numbers, are just so good, and they're so deep, and there really aren't any cracks here. When you finish first by 16 games, there's going to be pressure. There's going to be pressure because, you're the number one team and you won 68 games and you had the best net rating in NBA history and you didn't do it last year, and people are expecting you to prove it now. You got to prove it, right? You haven't won anything yet. But for a team that has all of those caveats aside, is this team the least amount of pressure for all of those? They just look like they're just out there playing basketball, and because I think the Celtics had pressure last year. The Knicks, I think the Knicks have more pressure almost than Oklahoma City.
Good question. I think the Warriors have pressure. I mean, they traded for. I think
the Warriors, the Lakers, the Nuggets.
Yes, I'm firing everybody. I think that the Thunder will feel pressure when people apply.
The deeper this goes, yeah.
I mean, you win by 51. No one should feel pressure in a game one of the opening round of the playoffs, right? If you feel pressure, then there's something wrong with you. So they won by 51. There is no pressure in this series. They're not, but I do think if they, if the Clippers go to Oklahoma, I mean, the Clippers haven't won that series yet, but if the Clippers were to go to Oklahoma City and win game one, or Denver were to go to Oklahoma City and win game one, or we get to a situation where they're down 3-2 in a series, and we've seen ample NBA champions go down 3-2. Hell, we saw the Warriors go down 3-1 against the Thunder, whatever it was many years ago. So I think the pressure's coming. I just don't think it's coming against Memphis.
Lakers, Wolves through the first quarter. Lakers up 34-15, Bill. So
okay, great prediction by me.
Your Wolves got a little bit of work to do as you go into the final three quarters for HQ. I wanted to run past you. We got the Sixth Man of the Year award came out. Peyton Pritchard won it. I think you voted for Peyton, right?
I did.
Did you?
No brainer.
Yeah. Not surprising here. I think it was just a little surprising what the vote was. He doubled up Beasley. Almost doubled up Beasley. Pretty close. And then Ty Jerome finished third. But it was a runaway for Peyton Pritchard.
That was my order too. I went Pritchard, Beasley, Jerome. I was surprised, actually. I had a different reaction. I was surprised how many first place votes. I think Beasley had 13. Did I see that right? I don't have it in front of me. But
yeah.
Look, I could be wrong, and all those guys are great. I thought that this was one of the clearest award questions that were out there. I thought this was the easiest.
I thought it was his
easily.
Easily.
Yeah. And by the way, it's not a postseason award. It's obviously a regular season award. You saw in game one why he's so valuable. I mean, he's a really important part of what they do. He's great.
I don't think that it's going to matter against the Orlando Magic. Certainly they could use some more Peyton Pritchard because of this, but we saw that Tatum's wrist, that he's questionable now for game 2, probably going to miss that one. And we were laughing about Joe Mazzulla yelling at him to get up and not sending the trainer over, but maybe send the trainer over, guy.
Yeah, Joe, you're watching The Town too much, man. I mean, like, I know.
Well, now it's the accountant too.
You're not from Southie, so let's just calm down with that. Who was the bad friend? Who was Ben Affleck's best friend? It was Hawkeye from the Marvel
Jeremy
movies.
Renner.
You're not Jeremy Renner, bro. You don't need to be hard. You can send the trainer over.
Send the trainer over there. We'll see what happens with Jason Tatum. That's going to do it for us tonight. If you want more from Bill's going to be back after Wolves and Lakers live on CBS Sports HQ. Are you there with Chris? You doing it with Chris?
Me and Chris Williamson will be taking care of it. Absolutely.
All right, so go and check out Bill after the Lakers game. He'll be up live on CBS Sports HQ. And then Bill and I will be back live on CBS Sports Network on Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern to continue with the first round of the playoffs. So come and join us for that. But for now, for our NBA insider, Bill Reiter, I'm John Gonzalez. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.